Hello, welcome to Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast. It's episode 10. Can't believe we made it to episode 10. When I tried to start a podcast a couple of years ago, we made it to episode 1. So episode 10 is a big achievement for me, especially the fact that I've actually been able to record twice in October. Twice, or is it 3 times? Not quite sure. I was a bit worried that I wouldn't have time to record in October at all, because October is the busiest month of the year for me. So my name is Anniken, and I design knitting patterns and teach knitting workshops. I'm based in the southwest of England in Cornwall, but I'm actually from Norway. So welcome to all our regular viewers, and also welcome if you found us for the first time. If you're new to this podcast, I hope you'll like and subscribe to my channel. As well as these podcast episodes, I also post tutorials regularly, and I got some blocking tutorials. I got a blocking tutorial for a new shawl coming up soon, so keep an eye out for that. More on that in a minute. So it's exciting to be here. I'm wearing a shawl today. It's really cold today. I was actually earlier on when I was working, I was wearing my Crantock, not Crantock, my Bunting poncho. I was sitting at my desk and it was really cold, so I had this just behind me, so I popped that on while I was working. Perfect for wearing at your desk when you're not moving your arms too much, like lifting your arms up and stuff. And it was really cold here. Normally my office is quite warm because it's on the warm side of the house, and it's sun I get on this side of the house for most of the afternoon, to mid-morning onwards, and it tends to be quite warm in here. But today it's freezing, really, really cold. Anyway, that's why I put this on, just to keep me warm while I'm recording this. More about this in a minute. I'll tell you what shawl it is and a bit more about it later on. First I want to start with some of the things that have been on my needles, some of the things that are off the needles, and some of the new things I've cast on. Now, it would be very good if I remembered exactly what I shared in the last podcast, and I don't. So I'm going to start by showing you a pair of socks which I may have shown you last time, but I don't think I did. I think I finished these last week. 2 weeks since I last recorded, but I only posted it a week ago, and I think I finished these just after I last recorded. So this is the these are socks for my husband. This is the Aventuras sock pattern, which is a choice of top down or toe up. Comes with a choice of 2 afterthought heels and 2 toes. So on this sock I did the wedge toe, which I'll just show you, which looks like that. So it's a bit of a modified, it's not the standard wedge toe that most sock patterns come with, it's a modified one, which I really like. I knitted this toe up with a wedge toe, and then I did a swirly afterthought heel. Now the afterthought heel doesn't fit very well on this sock blocker, but it fits really well on my feet, mainly because my instep, or my husband's instep, because these are actually from Simon, my husband's instep and my instep is much higher than the instep on this sock blockers. So the heel looks a bit baggy here, but it actually fits really, really well. So the Aventura sock pattern is available as a sock pattern and as an online course, and I'm actually teaching this in a yarn shop soon, and I'll talk more about that later on as well, but I'll put all the links below. The yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, or signature sock, I think it is. Got a feeling the colourway is called Peacock. It's actually a colourway that Emily picked out, so I was going to knit these for Emily, and then my mum gave the girls several pairs of socks between them when we came back from Spain last month in September, so I decided I would knit these for Simon instead. I actually had a bit of an accident last week. My washing machine broke down. It wasn't spinning very well, and it wasn't actually spinning very well for a while. It kept playing up. So I kept quite often when I washed something, I had to put on an extra spin cycle at the end. Anyway, last Thursday I washed all my pairs of hand knitted socks. Probably had about at least 12 pairs in the wash, I think. And some of them were old, some of them were a bit worn out, some of them could probably have done with going in the bin, but some of them were brand new. And several of them were knitted this year. And I washed them, and when I went to take them out Thursday evening, they were still soaking wet. So I put another spin cycle and went to bed. Realised the next morning they still hadn't spun. So I tried again. Now I think I tried to empty out to drain the water out, and it wasn't draining out. So I should have realised by then there was something wrong. But I also noticed that there was seemed to be a lot of soap slushing around in there. So I actually put on the rinse cycle and then another spin cycle. Anyway, I tried to spin it several times, and it was spinning, but it wasn't draining the water out. And when I finally gave up on Friday morning, and took the socks out, I put them on a thick towel to drain the water out of them. I actually realised that about half the socks had felted, including my brand new pair of yak and Superwash Merino yak and nylon blend socks that I got from a local dyer and knitted on holiday in September. They are felted, quite a few socks were felted, had to throw about half of them away. So I'm actually thinking about keeping these for myself, but I still have more pairs of socks than Simon, so maybe I'll still give him these. Simon and I have almost the same size feet, so these will fit both of us, but I don't know, I did say I'd give them to him, so I probably will do. Be nice. Okay, so those are the socks I knitted. Those are done, which is great. And then I immediately cast them for a new pair of socks. So, and I've actually finished the first one already. So we had a bit of a trip to Cardiff a couple of weekends ago, which I'll tell you about later. And I cast them for a pair of socks to knit in the car and during the weekend. I bought this, I think I shared this yarn in the last episode, is Opal sock yarn which I got last time I was teaching at Wool Palette in Plymouth. And because it's a plain yarn, I decided I needed a lace, some kind of pattern on it. Just plain socks in a plain yarn is a bit boring. So I decided to design a new lace pattern. It's a lacy rib pattern. I really, really like it. It's very pretty. I basically used my basic toe-up sock pattern, creme caramel, as a basis for this. And I knitted them toe-up with the gusset and a standard heel flap. Heel flap is ribbed like this, so it runs, so the rib from the heel runs into the rib on the leg and then into a plain rib at the top here. So I knitted probably most of this, like the whole foot and the heel turn and heel flap and everything, while I was in Cardiff, I think. Maybe I did, maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, I finished it last week and I immediately cast them for sock number 2. Which I'm keeping in this really cute Owl Project bag, which I've had for years. I can't remember where I got it from. It doesn't seem to have a label in it. I got a feeling it might be the old piggery from La Mercerie in Cowbridge in Wales, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know she makes bags like that. And I have bought bags when I've been teaching them. So this is sock number 2. Now, one thing that's worrying me slightly is that I reversed the stitch pattern on the second sock, so just so they would be like mirrored, rather than the stitch pattern. I don't know if you can see it. The stitch pattern kind of creates like a sort of diagonal, almost like a lacy cabled look. Can you see that? So on the second one, I kind of mirrored it, but on this one, it looks like it's spiraling a bit. Can you see that? So I'm not quite sure what to do. I just noticed that when I was knitting on them earlier. So I'm not quite sure what to do. I think I might knit a little bit further and see if it straightens out. And if it doesn't, I might rip it out and do the second one the same. Because this one didn't spiral, so I don't quite know why. Might also have a quick look at the pattern and make sure I actually mirrored it correctly, which I think I have, but I might want to just check that. These markers are to mark different things. So that's to mark where I started the gusset increases, and that's to mark where I started the leg to make it easier to count how many repeats I did. And that's the top of the lace pattern where I started the rib at the top. I'm not 100% happy with my stretchy cast off on this one. I have a stretchy cast off that I really, really like, but it's just a little bit floppy on this one. I actually did nearly half of it, then I undid quite a bit of it, because it was just looking a bit too frilly. And then I redid it and it still wasn't quite that good, so but I couldn't be bothered to undo it again. I'll see what it's like when I finished both socks and what it's like when I'm actually wearing them. If it's too loose, then I'll undo it and redo it, but it's a bit of a pain to undo the cast off that I use. Anyway, this is based on my creme brulee sock, which is my basic sock pattern. My creme brulee pattern doesn't have the lace pattern in it. I am actually thinking I might write this up as a pattern and publish it, but I haven't quite decided yet. But I probably will, I think. Anyway, if you're interested in learning how to knit toe-up socks using my creme brulee pattern, which is my basic toe-up sock pattern, so it would be like this, but it would be plain rather than lacy. If you're interested in learning how to do that, then I'm teaching that my standard toe-up sock workshop at the Handmade Studios in Rowlands Castle, which is near Portsmouth in Hampshire. And I'll be teaching that there on the 30th of November. I'll put the link below so you can contact Linda if you're interested in taking that workshop. So quite pleased with those. I love the colour. I knitted a little bit on this one actually just before I came up to record while I was having my lunch. I haven't knitted a lot on the second sock since I cast it on because I've got other things on the needles that are more urgent. But I just want to get on the needle and kind of get established with it. I also, 2 weeks ago, I was in Cardiff. One of the things I was teaching at the Knit Tea Retreat in Cardiff weekend before last. Great weekend, had a really good time. I taught continental knitting and professional finishing techniques on the Saturday, and then continental knitting on the Sunday morning, and then on the Sunday afternoon there was a yarn market, and one of the yarns that I bought I cast on almost immediately for a sock. So the yarn market was divided between two rooms. There was a slightly bigger hall, and then there was a smaller room, which is actually the room that I was teaching in all morning. So I was in that room for the yarn market, and there was only 3 of us in there. There was me, a company called Wool is the Answer, and another lady selling yarn for charity, which I'll talk about in a minute. So there's only 3 of us in there, and because Simon and the girls turned up and unloaded all my stuff, so it was ready after my workshop, helped me set up, and then they all disappeared. So I was on my own. So I wasn't able to go into the main hall and have a look around, but so I ended up buying, everything I bought was from the people in the stalls next to me. So I bought this yarn from Wool is the Answer. Their hashtag is we bake, we cake, you make, which I quite like. Their yarn is sold in cakes like that, so you don't have to wind it, you can just go out and immediately cast on, which is quite great actually. So this is their superwash merino nylon sock yarn. It's got 420 meters. It's a slightly thinner sock yarn than a lot of sock yarns, I think. And it's called Winter Rainbow, and I really like the colors. It has so many beautiful colors, and I could have bought quite a lot, but I decided I would treat myself to just one skein. Really like this, and because it was already wound, when I got back, I realized that even though I had those lacy socks on the go, I decided I could probably do with like a plain pair of socks on the go as well, just something that I can chuck in my handbag and knit when I'm out and about. So I grabbed these because they were already wound, and I cast on, and I must admit I am wondering whether maybe I could do with, I cast on 64 stitches, which is what I normally do for a sock for me, and I'm using the same needles I normally use, but because the yarn is a little bit thinner, most of the sock yarns I used have 400 meters per 100 gram, and this one had 425 meters, so it is a little bit thinner. So these socks just look very slim to me, very narrow, so I may have to try them on. I'm probably halfway up the foot now. I should try them on and just see how they fit on my feet, and I may cast on, I may have to redo it, go back to the toe and increase so I get 68 stitches. Or I could do stick with 64 stitches and give them to one of the girls instead. I haven't quite decided yet. So on the front of the sock I'm doing a plain rib, just knit 2 purl 2 rib, and on the bottom of the foot I'm doing a stocking stitch, so you can see the colour better there. I'm using my Aventuras pattern, which is the same pattern I use for Simon's socks. I'm doing them toe up, and I'm doing a swirly toe. I don't really like doing the swirly toe up. Love doing it top down, but toe up I'm not very keen on doing it because the start is a bit fiddly, but I decided to do it for this one. I really like the look of the swirly toe, just don't really like doing the beginning of it because it is a bit fiddly. Okay, so I just dropped my project bag on the floor. Just grab that quickly, sorry. So yeah, this is kind of a long-term project, although now I've ruined all those pairs of socks in the wash last week. I'm keen to finish it a bit quicker. We were talking about going to the cinema this week, so that might mean I make quick progress on these, because that's what I'll be taking to the cinema with me if we go. So talking about sticking with the weekend in Cardiff, we were given all the attendees and the teachers were given a gift bag. It was a Knitty Retreat tote bag, which came with a Knitty Retreat tape measure, which is actually downstairs where I keep most of my tape measures, and then this bundle of yarn. In their brochure, their retreat brochure, there's a pattern for this designed by one of the organisers. The retreat is organised by Zoe and Jenny, and it's really good. I was teaching there last year as well, and it's really good. A lot of people came back, but there was also lots of new people who didn't go last year, which is quite nice. So there's a pattern using these yarns. I probably won't knit that pattern. I'll probably do something else. It's Party Bunting yarn kit, and it's a merino nylon blend. The yarn's dyed by Allis Yarn, which is run by Jenny, who's one of the organisers. So there's cream, sort of undyed basic sock yarn, and then there's a skein of this peach colour and a skein of this multicoloured colour. I don't know how much this little mini skein is. I'm thinking about kind of leaving these and maybe get rid of some of my sock leftovers and doing sort of like a leftover sock with it at some point. I don't know. But I really like that yarn. Also in the goodie bag was this little mini skein, little yarn sample from by Miranda May, who is a new to me indie dyer. So this is another merino nylon sock yarn. This is 10 grams. It's approximately 40 meters. So I have a few of these little teeny tiny skeins. So I might gather them up and do like a mixed kind of socks, maybe ankle socks or something. I haven't quite decided yet. And then in the same room that I was in for the yarn market was a lovely lady who was also in one of my workshops, and she is she's supporting a charity. I think it's a local to her charity in Wales called Treasure Chest. She's a breast cancer survivor, and Treasure Chest raises money for breast cancer survivors and people undergoing breast cancer treatment, I think. And as October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I know she was quite passionate about the fact that a lot of companies are very commercial about it. So a lot of companies do stuff in pink, stuff where they supposedly donate to breast cancer charities. In reality, very little money actually go to breast cancer charities, and just everything's pink. And I would imagine it can probably be difficult if you're a breast cancer survivor. So Kat decided she wanted to do something positive to kind of reclaim the colour pink and raise some money for this Treasure Chest charity. So she was selling this yarn by a dyer called Lorna Jane Makes. This is a colorway called Cotton Candy, and I think it's an exclusive colorway for this fundraising event for Treasure Chest. It's superwash merino nylon, 425 meters. It's actually from Devon, so it's the next county over to where I live, and it's a really pretty color. It's sort of like a pinky, peachy pink, I would say. It's a sock yarn. I may do socks with it, but I kind of feel it's a little bit too pale for socks. So I don't know, maybe I'll do something else. I haven't quite decided yet, but I just thought it was a pretty colour. She also had a sock pattern. I used that yarn as well, but I'll link all that below. And then Kat, who was running this charity stall, she had a little dog called Gwen, little Coton de Tulia. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. That's the breed, I think. Little white dog who actually came to the workshops. Really well behaved little dog, so cute. And she had these pins of Gwen. See if I can get a little bit of a clearer image. So really nice pins. The pins are made by hang on, I got it here. The pins are made by Sam Draws Things. Sam Draws Things, so UK. She's designed these cards. Also came with a little card which has a magnet on the back, which is a really good idea, saying you are magic. And I haven't put this pin anywhere yet. I just kept it on here so I'd remember to mention it in my podcast. But this is a special fundraising pin for Treasure Chest. Really, really cute. Oh yeah, Treasure Chest is supporting breast cancer care at, okay, I may not pronounce this correctly, Glan Clyde Hospital. It's Welsh, so I may have pronounced that completely wrong. Apologies. But yeah, really cute. Very cute pin. Okay, so that's what I purchased at the Knit Tea retreat. I'm a bit sort of back and forth today. Let's see what else I got on the needles, and then I'll share a couple of things I finished. So also on the needles, I cast on for a shawl, but with yarn from Blackie Yarns, which is actually a yarn company. They have their own yarn mill based in the next town over from where I live. I live in Liskeard in Cornwall, and they're based in Launceston in Cornwall, which is less than half an hour away from where I'm sitting now. I'm using their Blueface Leicester lace. It's a 2-ply lace yarn. These are the two colours I'm using. I chose these at Woolfest in June, and I don't know, I just didn't get around to casting on over the summer. They've just been sitting there waiting for me to kind of inspiration to strike, I guess. I don't know what happened over the summer. Things for a bit, just didn't get around to it. I'm in the middle of a row at the moment, which makes it a little bit difficult to show you, but that's kind of what I'm doing. Really like it. Really enjoying knitting with it. It's so soft and lovely to knit with. This will become a new pattern, hopefully sometime in November. If not early December. We'll see how quickly it takes me to knit it. Really like it. Using my this lovely project bag from Pink Hazel. Pink Hazel, I think that's, yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's Pink Hazel. I'll link it below. Really pretty. So yeah, I'm really enjoying knitting that shawl. That's kind of my main project at the moment. Although I'm taking a bit of time off every now and then to knit on the socks. I also have 2 finished things to show you. So the first one is a hat. So I will actually put it on. Now, I am not a hat person. I don't know, I don't think I look very good in hats. This is knitted in 1 ball of Lang Miller Calori. I really like this colorway. It has a little bit more brown and slightly kind of orangey color. I thought it was more mainly pink. I mean, I could see from the ball that it had a bit of brown, but I feel like there was less pink in it than I expected it to be, which might be strange because it looks very pink now I'm wearing it. So maybe it's more pink than I realized after all. Anyway, it's actually a hat pattern that I designed a few years ago, and I knitted up in a double knitting yarn, but I never wrote up the pattern. And I've always been meaning to redo it and reknit it and actually do the pattern. And it's knitted from the top down. Stocking stitch to start with, and then it's got this lacy edging with beads. I actually knitted the edging with an extra repeat, so I had 4 repeats originally. Did the I-cord cast off, wasn't happy with it because the lace pattern you actually decrease on 3 rows, you're decreasing, and then you increase on the beaded yarn over row. Yeah, okay, and it made it a bit tight. So normally when you have lace after you've been working stocking stitch, it'll stretch out a little bit. This is actually pulling in compared to the stocking stitch, so it actually felt a little bit tight when I put it on. I wasn't 100% happy with it. So on Sunday I unpicked it. I picked it right back to here, and then I re-knitted the lace and redid the I-cord cast off. So I really like the I-cord cast off. Looks really nice. Really neat way to do a cast off. Really like this hat pattern. I'm going to write up the pattern hopefully this week and get it off my tech editor, and I'm hoping to release this pattern towards the end of November, early December. But I really like that. I haven't worn it outside yet because I want to get photographs before I actually start wearing it. I don't tend to wear hats a lot because it doesn't get that cold here, but I did actually wear a hat yesterday when I walked Alfie because it was really, really cold and really, really windy. Okay, and I have one more finished object. So last time I recorded, I was close to finishing this. And I don't think I actually showed it to you because it was getting so big. And I have now actually finished it. Ta-da! So I'm so pleased it's finished. It is huge. I did actually cheat a little bit at the end. Can you see it's got purple lace, green lace, silver lace. Then it's got purple lace, and it should have had green lace and silver lace, but I skipped the second green bit because it was just getting so big and I was getting a bit, I just didn't have the stamina, quite honest. I just wanted to finish it. It is really big. It is a really nice shape. It's got kind of sort of 4 sections, but it's all knitted in one from the top down. We start with just a few stitches, end with quite a lot of stitches. So the last few rows are quite long. Stripes to start with, and these blocks of lace towards the end. And on the edging, it has beads, and it has these big triple yarn overs with the bead. You can see that. Can you see it's got a bead there? Big triple yarn over with a bead. I have actually recorded a blocking tutorial for this. I actually did a live last week when I blocked it, and I'm going to edit that and post it on YouTube as a tutorial. I think I posted it already in my Facebook group. So yeah, that's what that looks like. Really pleased with it. Really like it. It's huge. I took some photographs this weekend, patterns with my tech editor. So hopefully we'll get this out later in November, middle of November, hopefully, end of November at the latest. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Yarn is Växtbo Lingarn, which is Swedish, which I got from Knit with Attitude in London. I'll put the links to that below. So that's all the stuff that's on my needles and all the new stuff I've cast on. I do have plans to cast on for a shawl. I want to do a shawl in, where did I put it? I think I put it here. Here it is. I want to do a shawl in this yarn, which I think I showed this in the last episode. It's Fab Funky Fibers mini skein kit. I've got an idea for a shawl I want to design, which I'd like to release early December, which means I may have left it too late to start it because I've got to knit it and get the pattern written up and get the pattern tech edited. I'm thinking about mixing this with another colour. I don't quite know which colour yet, but I was thinking about going for light grey. Then I thought maybe dark grey, and now I'm thinking maybe pink. So I haven't quite decided yet, so I need to decide that first. I'm going to take it downstairs with me after recording this and actually start maybe doing some swatching for it tonight. Because if I'm going to do it, I need to get on with it. Otherwise, I need to really finish it by the end of next week, really, to have any chance of getting the pattern ready if I want to release it in early December. I've got a very special idea for it, but we'll see what happens. Don't know whether I can make it work or not. And I also got plans for a pair of new Selbu inspired mittens that I want to cast on as well. So I don't know. I might, if I don't get around to casting on this shawl this week, I might do that this weekend. Cast on for a new pair of mittens. I've had a pattern sitting in my folder on the computer for a while, which I've charted out some colourwork charts, and I just haven't gotten around to starting it. So I definitely want to do that in November at some point. So let's talk about what's coming up in November. So let's talk about this first. So this is my Crantock shawl, which I'm wearing. So I like to wear it as a scarf, just bundle around my neck like that. I'll take it off to show you exactly what it looks like. So it's an asymmetrical triangle, or I tend to call it peak crescent shawl. It's got lace, it's got stripes, it's got garter stitch. It's knitted in 3 colours. I'm actually teaching this as a workshop at Spinner Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon on the 9th of November. So that's not very far away. That's not too far away. So this is a Crantock shawl, and I'm teaching it as Spinner Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon on the 9th of November. So in the workshop, you'll knit a little mini version of this, like a little swatch for this, where we'll practice all the stitch pattern. So I'll show you how to change colours neatly, how to shape this shawl, and how to knit the lace pattern. and also talk about how to block it. And then in the afternoon, you'll cast some for your own Crantock shawl, and you'll get the pattern as part of the class. So that's on the 9th of November at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon. And then on the 24th of November, I'll be at the Knitting Corner in Sutton Coldfield in north of Birmingham to teach my Sailbury Mittens workshop. So Sailbury Mittens are these kind of things. Let me just put one on for you and show you. So this is Sailbury Mittens that my mum knitted quite a few years ago. These are traditional Norwegian mittens, quite well known in Norway and around the world, I think. So I'm teaching Sailbury Mittens at the Knitting Corner on the 24th of November. So Knitting Corner is in Sutton Coldfield, north of Birmingham. And then I'm also teaching it at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon on the 27th of November. I'll put all these details below so you can learn how to knit a pair of mittens like that. I will teach you, you will knit a little mini mitten during the class where I teach you all the techniques. So you'll learn how to knit two-handed stranded colour work, how to get the correct length for the floats so that they look nice and they don't pucker, how to shape the mitten, and I also show you how to do an afterthought thumb. So traditionally Sailbury mittens tend to have a thumb gusset and a stranded colourwork thumb. I don't like that because it is very difficult when you're new to colourwork to knit a finger neatly. It's very easy to get it too tight, then you can't actually get your thumb in. So I tend to do an afterthought thumb. So in the workshop I'll actually show you how to do an afterthought thumb, which is quite a useful thing to know. How to shape the top of the mitten, how you can knit with one colour in each hand, and then you get a choice of one of my Sailbury inspired patterns to take home. So you get a choice between that one. So this one is Vaffelvotted, this one is Vintervotted, and then I have one which is not actually Sailbury inspired as such, but it uses the same techniques, but it's hand warmers, and it's called Silver Birch. So this isn't very Sailbury inspired really, but it uses the same techniques. So for those who thinking they're never going to wear a pair of mittens but they might wear a pair of hand warmers, I've done these. So you get to choose one of those patterns to take home with you. So that's on 24th of November at the Knitting Corner in Sutton Coldfield, and 27th of November at Spinny Yarn in Bobby Tracy in Devon. And then on the 30th I'm teaching my toe up socks workshop at Handmade Studios in Rowlands Castle near Portsmouth in Hampshire. So that's the pattern these socks are based on. And then in December I've only got one workshop in December, and that's Christmas balls at the Wool Palette in Plymouth in Devon. And Christmas balls will be knitting something like this. I'm actually designing a selection of new patterns. There'll be a choice of patterns that have stranded colourwork like this one, and some easier ones that have stripes and beads, so you can choose according to what you want to make. And I'm designing a whole new set of Christmas balls especially for that workshop. So that's on the 7th of December at the Wool Palette in Plymouth in Devon. So you can come along and you can knit the whole Christmas ball in one day. So I'll put links to all those things below, all the companies I mentioned, all the things I've talked about, and I will finish this video with a little bit of a clip from last Saturday when I was teaching at the Knitting Hotel in Dawlish in Devon. I spent a day with a group of 9 ladies teaching them how to knit Fair Isle, a stranded colourwork, and how to do steeking. And I did a little bit of a video right at the end where some of them are crocheting to reinforce the steeks and some of them are actually cutting the steeks. So I will add that to the end of this video, just so you can have a glimpse. Knitting Hotel is a fabulous place. I'll be back there next year to teach loads of workshops. I think they're probably fully booked for 2020 now, but I know they're just looking at dates for 2021, and I'll be teaching some more dates in 2021. So I'll put the link to the Knitting Hotel below. They do weekend retreats. It's not every weekend, selected weekends. Some weekends include a workshop, some don't, so I'll put the link to all that below. And then coming up now is a little glimpse from that weekend. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Next week I'm hoping to include a little tutorial, but we'll see. And this coming weekend, I've actually got the first weekend since the end of September that I'm not teaching anywhere. So I'm looking forward to a weekend off. Hopefully we'll go to the cinema. I hope you have a lovely day, whatever you're doing, wherever you are. Please leave a comment below. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have a special offer for you. So to celebrate the fact that it's episode 10, I'll do a 50% discount code for my online yarn shop. So for the YarnAddict online yarn shop, you can get 15% off anything in the shop. So my books, Speedy Lace Knitting, Easy Lace Knits, there's some selection of kits, there's loads of yarn, there are some accessories, beads for knitting, things like that. I'll put the link below, and the discount code is Confessions. So Confessions, but I'll put the details of that below as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.